I do. But you're really leading a very thing, because we need a great and free press. We need a brilliant press. They're like a watchkeeper. They're very important, and you can go out and take it down a new track, help save the country. So important. Your task is so important, and it's to build a media that Americans can trust. And remember, the people of this country, they know the truth when they hear it. That's why the ratings, the approval numbers of the media are so low. We need those.
My bad on that. If anybody was here and saw the stream before, and we didn't have no volume because OBS was active.
And you need really free, fair, clean elections. You need those things, but the media is a big part of it.
My bad. We had 200 people here. They was watching in silence. Easy.
To get poisons out of our food supply, keep toxins out of our government. Clean out our environment and make America healthy again. And I think Bobby's going to do a great job, don't you? I think so. I think he's the guy we needed. And in government, it is the task of your generation to replace bureaucracy, graft, and waste with a new system that defends American freedom. These are big tasks before you, but the reward for your hard work will be the United States of America is stronger, prouder, better, and more unified than ever, ever, ever before. It's going to be. As you embark on this great adventure, let me share some of the biggest lessons I've learned from a lifetime spent building dreams.
Appreciate everybody who subbed.
Beating the odds. I beat a lot of odds.
Even though we had technical.
A lot of odds. A lot of people said, I don't know. But it worked out okay. Where are we? Oh, gee, I'm president. How did that happen? Now, you're going to be in the same position. But some of the would you like to hear some of the ideas, or should I just skip over that part, huh? That's going to be more interesting than all the other stuff, which was slightly political, right? I'm going to give it to you, though, just as I see it and as I've learned it, the hard way and the easy way. First, if you're here today and think that you're too young to do something great, let me tell you that you are wrong. You're not too young. You can have great success at a very young age. You're all very young. In America, with drive and ambition, young people can do anything. I was 28 when I took my first big gamble to develop a hotel in Midtown Manhattan, the Grand Hyatt, and it worked out incredibly well. But I was very young at the time. I was like a very young person in sort of an old person business. Steve Jobs was 21 when he founded Apple. Walt Disney was 21 when he founded Disney.
I think that's what people came to see. They didn't come to see the rest of this.
Alexander Hamilton,
I don't
Thomas
really think
Jefferson. They were
a lot of this graduating crowd and family wants to hear the president talk about the campaign. They want to hear to talk about the future of America.
So to everyone here today, don't waste your youth. Go out and fight right from the beginning, from the day you leave this incredible university. Go out and fight tough, fight fair, but go out and fight. You're going to be very successful, because now is the time to work harder than you have ever worked before. Push yourself further than you have ever pushed yourself before. Find your limits and then smash through everything. Go and smash through. You've watched that football team smash through. You're going to do the same thing. You're at the age when you have the time and vitality to do really incredible things. If you just give it your all, you'll look back, and a decade from now, you'll be astounded by what you've achieved. You'll remember this day. You'll remember when the guy named Trump was giving the commencement address, and he said I could do it, and guess what? I did. I think you're going to remember that very fondly. I hope so. Second of all, and very importantly, you have to love what you do. Okay? You have to. I rarely see somebody that's successful that doesn't love what he or she does. That's really like work isn't work. It's fun. I find it fun. I work all the time, and I find it fun. If I didn't find it fun, I wouldn't be successful, whether it was real estate or in showbiz. I had a lot of different careers, but I loved real estate so much, and I was very successful at real estate because I loved it. I learned a lot from my father because I watched him work. He worked he was a workaholic. He worked. He loved to work. He's a good man. He was a tough guy, tough as hell, actually. Now that I think back, I don't know if you could even get away with that nowadays. He was tough, but he was a good man, I'll tell you. And he worked 7 days a week. He worked Saturdays, Sundays. It didn't matter. And I learned by watching him, he loved his life. He loved what he was doing. He had a great long-term marriage, a long, many years. He beat me on that one. No, mine are very successful, but they haven't lasted quite as long. It was close to 70 years. That was a long time.
That's a little bit. 7 years, nice, man.
On that one. But you know what I learned from him? That he loved life, and all he did was work. I see people that don't work hard, and they're miserable. So go out and find. But he loved what he was doing. And you have to find something that you love, and you have to follow your own instincts.
Regardless of what the president is.
Your parents are very wise, but you have to follow your instincts and your heart, your soul, and you want to be the very, very best you can be. Treat every day like a home game against Auburn. Fight like hell and enjoy doing it. And your coach can
tell
you all about that. Third thing is to think big. You know, you're going to do something, you might as well think big. Because it's just as tough. You can think small. I know a lot of people, they thought small. They're very smart. I know others that weren't nearly as smart, but they had a better picture of the big picture, because it's just as hard to solve a small problem as a big problem, and it's just as much energy and everything else, except the result is going to be a smaller one. So love what you do, but think big if it's possible. Now, if it's not possible, that's okay too. You do something, you have to do something that you love. You will have all the same headaches and challenges, all the same delays and setbacks, so you might as well do something that's just amazing.
That's actually
America
powerful
doesn't
to say.
aim small. Alabama doesn't aim small, and neither do you. So think big when possible. Think big. Fourth is work hard. Work hard. Never, ever stop. An example is a great athlete, actually, Gary Player, golfer, great golfer.
Gary Player was a great golfer.
He wasn't as big as other men. He was actually on the small side. Don't tell him that. Friend of mine, don't tell him that, because he doesn't understand that. But he worked very, very hard. He made up for it. He never stopped. He won 168 golf tournaments. Think of that, 100. I said, Gary, you're winning like every weekend. Do you ever choke or anything? I don't know what choke means. And he made a statement years ago that I read, and I thought it was sort of an incredible statement. He said, it's funny, the harder I work, the luckier I get, right? Think of that. The harder I work, the luckier I get. So you really have to work hard, and you're going to be successful because you have the talent to get into this school. It's not easy to get through it.
Regardless of how you feel about Trump, this is actually a pretty powerful speech. Not powerful like it's going to inspire people. But, you know, it's actually a work hard, get what you want. Nothing going to be handed to you, man. Let's go out and get it, man. Big Trump on the mic. Alabama graduation. Appreciate y'all tapping into the show. We had some technical difficulties earlier. Got me fixed. Realized I had to start off audio right from YouTube.
It is very important. I mean, I'll just tell you a little story about a great real estate developer named William Levitt. He built Levittown. Some of you might live in a Levittown. He was the biggest developer in the whole country in the 1940s and so. And he built these jobs. He started with one house, then 2 houses, then 20 houses, then thousands and thousands of houses. And a company, Gulf and Western, came along and they said, we're going to make you an offer to buy your company. And they offered him a lot of money, more money than he ever thought he could make. And he retired, lost his momentum. He retired, and he led a beautiful life. He had a wife, I must tell you. It was his second wife. It was a trophy wife. What can I say? I don't like telling you everything, but we're all friends, right? Can we talk? We're all friends. He had a trophy wife. And he lived a different life.
Trump,
he moved to the south of
personal.
France, but he lived... it was a life of tremendous luxury. He had so many millions of dollars. He was given a fortune for the company.
I'm doing on TikTok, y'all.
10 years went by, and then 15 years went by, and he got a call from this big conglomerate, Gulf and Western, and they said, we're not doing well with the purchase, because he used to pick up every nail, every piece of sawdust, every piece of wood, every chip, everything, and he'd sell it. He'd make a couple of bucks. Everything was perfect. They can't do that. You know, these big companies, they don't do that. You see it a lot when an entrepreneur sells to a big company and then he ends up buying the company back for peanuts later on. Happens a lot. But he was the best at what he did. But 15 years went by and he was so excited, and they sold him back his company. And he started, and he was going to tear apart the world because he got bored with a life of luxury. And he started building and building and building. And the markets turned on him. And he went bad. He lost everything, and he went bankrupt. Absolutely bankrupt. And it was a sad story to read. It was such an amazing story because he was so rich. But he paid them, and he bought it for the right price, bought it low, but he went wild. But he lost his momentum. He wasn't good at it anymore. And he was at a party on Fifth Avenue, I'll never forget. And it was a party of a very, very powerful man who was having the party in a magnificent apartment overlooking the park. And I walked in, and there were 50 or so people. I recognized most of them, all the biggest business people in the world, actually. Very glamorous. I was doing well. I was young, and I was doing well. And I was invited to parties like that. And I looked in the corner, and there was Mr. William Levitt sitting all by himself on a chair, looking very glum. Nobody was talking to him, because you'll find that when you're not successful, you lose a lot of friends.
Yeah, that's real.
Good
Big
situation. But there was
have
nobody
to be taught to realize
I wanted
that.
to talk to him because I was in the real estate business, and he was, and most of these people were in different businesses. And I went over and talked to him, and I said, "How are you, Mr. Levitt?" He goes, "Donald?" He knew who I was. "Not well. I'm not well." I said, "So can you come back?" He said, "No, son. I lost my momentum. I shouldn't have done it. I lost my momentum." And I never forgot that expression. He lost his momentum. If he would have kept going,
Appreciate the love, Taylor.
Instead of selling and relaxing and going into a different life, he probably would have been 3 times bigger than he was, but he lost his momentum. And you have to know when it's your time. I mean, there'll be a time when you do lose. You see it with fighters. You see it with a lot of people. They have a great record and they retire. And
Floyd Mayweather.
It's not good. It's not good. So
appreciate y'all tapping in. Appreciate the love on TikTok.
You have to know when your momentum time is up. I call it momentum time, but follow your momentum. It's a very important word. You don't hear it from too many, but I've seen it. I've seen it a lot. Number 6, if you want to change the world,
how many numbers Trump got, man? How many points you got, Mr. President?
In other words, you have to take certain risks and do things a little bit differently. Otherwise, if that weren't the case, everybody would be successful. Doesn't work that way.
Don't work that way.
Progress never comes from those satisfied
with the failures
of a broken system. It comes from those who want to fix the broken system. And you'll make the bigger money, you'll make the more success by acting that way. The other way may be more secure, but if you want to go to the top, you're just never going to do it unless you break the system. Change is never easy, and the closer you get to success, the more ferociously those with a vested interest in the past will resist you. They want to resist. So I just say, trust me on that, because I know you really do. You have to break the system a little bit and follow your own instincts. But if your vision is right, nothing will hold you down. Nothing. You have to have the right vision. If you look at some of these internet people, I know so many of them. Elon is so terrific, but I know now all of them, they all hated me in my first term, and now they're kissing my ass. Do you know? It's true. All of them. It's true.
Trump ain't lying. Big Trump ain't lying.
It's amazing.
He ain't lying.
It's nicer this way. Now, in the first, they didn't know what happened because I won an election that, there was never a businessman that won a presidential election. Out of 100%, 8% were generals and 92% were politicians. Not even admirals, not even just generals. There were 8 generals, General Washington, General Grant, generals, General Eisenhower. But 8% were generals and 92% were politicians. And when I ran, everyone said, well, he can't win. He's a businessman. That's not going to work. And, but you have a natural instinct for things.
I said
to somebody, was I a better businessman or politician?
Yeah, I hear you, Taylor.
And they said, well, there are a lot
We'll
of
have a
guys
chat
who made
after
a lot
this,
of
man.
money. But there's only one guy that became president that was a businessman, so I guess you're a better politician, but I don't think of myself as a politician. I think of myself as a businessman, and I'm proud of that. And I've applied business instinct, and that's why I think you're seeing us doing so well. So number 7 is to trust your instincts, common sense. You can go very far in life with common sense, and I applied that to politics because some of these things, like they had open borders. Let everybody in the whole world flow into our
Everybody's
country.
happening.
That's not common sense. They had transgender for everybody. We ended that, if you noticed, okay? But they had transgender for everybody. They said, I said, this is not working. This is not going to work. As I said before, so simple. Men playing in women's sports. Did you ever see some of the records? Did you ever see some of these boxing matches? We have to protect. These women are great athletes, but we have to protect. If you looked at the Olympics where they had transitioned people going into the boxing, where the women had boxing.
They say Buddy wasn't.
They had a great champion, a female boxer.
I've actually had some friends in some group chats, professionals, former athletes, who are very adamant about this position. Some people feel that the young lady wasn't a trans because she's not, and some people feel she is. And this narrative is continuing to get out there. News has come out and reported after the Olympics. A man wasn't transgender, and the person who lost was just sorry and basically made it up because she couldn't win. Well, here we are.
Should I do it or not? All right, I'm in trouble when I get home, but that's okay. What the hell? I've been in lots of trouble before. But no, you look at the weightlifting where 18 years it stands, and they have this young woman, and her parents are right where you are in the front row, and they're so proud of her, and it's like 209 pounds, and she's going to lift that.
Yeah, they weaponize it, Taylor.
18, think of it,
they
18 years, and they put an ounce
They weaponize this of being divisive, but at the same time, respectfully, folks, it's all good till your daughter get dunked on. Right? I think that trying to force the transports narrative that Democrats are doing, it not only dehumanizes one side of it, the other side people just aren't. Want a man, and I'm not saying it defensively on the movie because that's what Juwan Man was.
And he was a failed weightlifter as a man. But he comes along, 206 pounds. They put the little thing on, and he goes.
My bad on that, Taylor. Yeah, I need to up my settings
like
on my mic, so I appreciate you.
Pounds.
Got to talk clear and slower into the mic.
The other one is the swimming. You've heard me talk about it. Great swimmers, and they rose to the top. Women swimmers, and they grew up together. And they're Olympic class swimmers, and they're qualifying for some big tournament. And now the race is getting ready to start, the big race. And one young lady, she was going to set the record. She fought all her life to set the record. She has to win it by 1/9 of a second. Think of that, 1/9. I don't like those odds, 1/9 of a second. Right?
Got a poll
but
here.
She looks to the left and she sees all the friends that she grew up with down in
California, poll on YouTube.
From all over the country. They're all the best swimmers. Then she looks to the right and she sees the same thing, but there's a person next to her who's a giant. And she looks and she, oh my God, who is that? I don't recognize that person. That was a person that transitioned, and he had the wingspan of Wilt the Stilt Chamberlain, if anybody knows what.
Can you hear him now, Kofi?
As you know what happened, she was very, very badly injured in that meet because he went by her so fast that she was windburned. They had to take her out. She got serious windburn. He flew back and forth, and she didn't know what, but she got the hell knocked out of her, knowing that I'm only kidding. She wasn't windburned. She was just beaten by a lot. Or the race, did you see the race where they had the best female runners and they had a guy who was a decent runner, a long-distance race? And he won by 5 hours and 19 seconds. You know, normally you win
But
by
your
like
man
12
says he's still
seconds, 2
campaigning,
seconds,
so
a quarter of a second. He won by
say
5
he's
hours
running-
and 19
They say Trump's running in 2028. Whether it's Byron or Don or Ivanka, somebody Trump is running in 2028. That's what they keep saying. If he don't change the rules, they say he's running again, so he got to keep campaigning. Trump's going to keep campaigning, y'all. The campaign doesn't stop. The gift never stops.
So now that I'm in trouble with my wife, I'm going to blame the University of Alabama for asking me to go through with that stuff. But it's pretty descriptive, isn't it, really? It helps when you know that
DGZ,
borders are not racist.
Thanks for the support, too, and the
not
gifts.
Violence. America is good. Terrorists are bad. Men can never become women. Police are not criminals, and criminals are not victims. Eighth, everybody should believe.
He's needed. He's a clown.
Thank you.
The poll needs a third choice.
Thank you very much.
Thought about giving the poll a third choice, but I didn't want y'all to just pick the third choice. I appreciate you, Bellevue.
Ninth, think of yourself as a winner. The power of positive thinking. Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, from many years ago, wrote a book, The Power of Positive Thinking. And there is a lot to it, the power of positive thinking. Don't consider yourself a victim. Consider yourself a winner. In recent years, too many of our young people have really been taught to think of themselves as victims and blame people and be angry. Don't be angry. But in America, we reject that idea that anyone is born a victim. Our heroes are the ones who take charge of their own destiny, make their own luck, and determine their own fate despite the odds, despite all odds. That's what happens. They're given a little chance in many cases, very little chance of success, and they become the most successful people in the world. Whether you were born rich or poor, black or white, male or female in America, anyone can be a winner, and our whole country will be cheering you on, and I'll be at the front of the line cheering you on, especially because you come
what
from
Trump's
this
saying.
incredible university.
Let me mute him for a second. I do think that positive thinking is a good thing. Negative thinking, negative energy can ruin your life and your mindset. Crazy, baby. Positive mindsets is a good thing. Thinking positive is a great thing. And one thing I want to say to positively here right now, go ahead, like, subscribe, follow the channel, whether Twitch or TikTok. Follow you, boy. I'm the hip-hop lobbyist, professional lobbyist here in the state of Florida. This is my channel where I talk politics, and I'm also a gamer. But we're not talking about gaming right now. We'll do that later tonight on another stream. Let's get back. What's happening today?
Some are close, but nobody is the same. You're one of a kind, so don't try to be someone else. Just be yourself. And finally, and most importantly, never, ever give up. Never give up.
Appreciate the love, man. Appreciate the love on the chat tonight,
Never give up.
Normally don't get a lot of
And
politics on Thursday night, but y'all here. I love it.
And it's so true. One of the most important things you can learn, if you just went a little bit longer, if you just held out a little bit longer, you would have been successful. Well, the stories of that are legend. But I've learned that perseverance is everything. So whatever happens, no matter where you are in life, stay optimistic and just keep pushing forward. Just don't stop. Never, ever give up. Victory is right around the corner. I've watched Coach Saban win games that really were virtually over. You've seen it. You've been in the stands. He won a couple of games. I said, Coach, you got lucky as hell. He said, I didn't get lucky. I'm a talented guy. You know, those little touchdowns that come out of nothing. He's amazing. But he's a guy that doesn't quit and doesn't know what the word quit even means. He couldn't define it.
Technically, he did quit. So he quit because of NIL. NIL ran Nick Saban ass up out of Alabama because he was not trying to bid for players like Dabo Sweeney. But let's get back to the president.
Too much right now. But they said that they have to do everything they can to keep you from winning.
I appreciate the like and the stuff,
and I'm representing you, so I have to make it. I have big shoulders. These are big shoulders. I have to win for you. I'm not winning for myself. I'm winning for you. Do you remember when they said that Donald Trump will never become president of the United States? Remember Barack Hussein Obama said that?
You always say
Barack
Hussein.
Obama. Donald Trump will never be president. Like 50 other politicians said that. Where are they now? Oh, let me see. Oh, there they are.
Oh, shit. You're right.
Where are they
They're
now?
Bush.
But here I am standing before you as the 45th and 47th president.
Oh, see, Obama inspired this man, and he's been on a tear ever since. Obama inspired a lot of black folks, and he inspired Trump. And Trump been on a rampage.
I did much better in 2020. Sorry, the election was rigged. But it was a rigged election. And then in 2024, I made it too big to rig. I said, we got to do this again. We got to do this again. And we made it too big to rig.
If you watch any of my streams the past couple of days, we did the 100 days, 101st day, we did the cabinet meeting, his rally in Michigan. It's been the same speech the past 2 or 3 days. Even the cabinet meeting was literally every secretary praising the same thing, talking about between the election happening, between inflation, and tariffs, and transports. It's ridiculous, but it's a talking point. People believe it because in their box, in their mind, this is exactly what they want to hear. Everything is immigrants' fault. Everything they're trying to indoctrinate every child in public school. This is the mindset. That's what they're getting.
Willing to fight for it, you got to fight, fight, fight. Oh, I've heard that expression.
Appreciate y'all tapping in again.
Funny. That's not here. That's not here in the actually most.
Yeah,
of
it's a
what I've
cult
said
mentality,
tonight is
man.
not
But Democrats have a cult mentality
right?
too.
Isn't it nice?
Because Democrats, for some, the AOC and Bernie Sanders are going to just by talking about minimum wage, as if talking about minimum wage, like $18 an hour. If they, how much is? What's the salary on that? They don't never talk about salary. They talk about hourly wage. I want to talk about a salary with benefits. That's the difference. AOC and the Democrats are pimping it out. Trump's pimping it out. Where do we get real? Like, sorry, taking this off. Where do we get real? Everybody's feeding us hope like bullshit. I'm not looking for that. Back to the president.
From Montgomery to Mobile, and from right here in Tuscaloosa.
Hold on. That's a good question. In this first
to the gleaming shores of the Gulf of America. That is a nice thing. Everybody loves it. I wouldn't say Mexico's thrilled, but you can't have them all. They're not thrilled. You continue the legacy of Alabama legends who blazed the trails, won the games, tilled the fields, forged the steels, built the ships, and gave us the victories that built America and changed the world. The entire world was changed by our victories. This is the state that gave us the might of the Iron City, the power of the Saturn V rocket, and the roaring engines of Talladega. Talladega. We love Talladega. We love Talladega.
Just put a new poll up.
This is the state that gave us nothing but victory.
Just
the
put a new
state
poll up.
of
Who has
some
a
of the
bigger,
greatest heroes.
who has a bigger cult following? Donald Trump, MAGA Republicans. I think they're two different things. AOC, Bernie Sanders. There were 4 different labels of people.
Some of you will leave here today and travel the world, but you will always know that this state, as this is really sweet home Alabama, right? It's always going to be your place. I sort of feel that way myself because from a political standpoint, it's just been, we connected from day one. From the first day I set my foot on this beautiful soil, I connected with Alabama. And here in Alabama, we believe that the men and women who built this country are heroes, and that America's destiny is to be the single greatest nation on the face of the earth. And we're bringing it back at a speed that nobody thought was possible. We believe in freedom and family, God and country. We cherish our Constitution.
See the people behind
we revere our
Bible,
Bible, and we salute our great American flag. We honor our police,
protesters outside
we
of this.
respect our veterans, and we always stand for our one and only national anthem. We love our national anthem. We believe in strong parents, strong values, strong communities, and very strong borders. And we believe that the United States military is the greatest force for peace and justice the world has ever known. We have a great military. We just had people that didn't know how to lead it. We believe the South is beautiful. Alabama.
Same military that killed Osama bin Laden? Huh?
The USA.
SEC in the USA. Come on, man. Did the SEC win a national championship?
Graduates of the Alabama class of 2025 standing here before you in this magnificent arena, it is clear to see the next chapter of the American story will not be written by the Harvard Crimson. It will be written by you, the Crimson Tide. That's true. That's true.
Babylon is falling.
That's true.
Race through some of this chat. An election would disagree.
I thought that was rather clever. If you look at what's going on, they get their $5 billion a year. That is not going to be so forthcoming. Now, wasn't that a clever one, though? Huh? Who would think of that? Because this is Alabama, and at Alabama, you fight, and you win. That's what you know how to do. Congratulations to you all. Congratulations to this great class of champions. God bless you.
That draft Dozier
God
or draft
bless
Dodger?
America. Thank you all very much.
That was President Trump's speech at the University of Alabama, their graduating class, introduced by Nick Saban earlier. I appreciate everybody who's been on the stream so far. We had some technical difficulties earlier. We were able to work through it. We couldn't hear the president and Nick Saban them at first, but we cut those streams and started fresh here. I don't know if I want to go play some college football or see college football 25 after that. Here you go with the dance. Loves catchphrases. His entire campaign and presidency is built catchphrases. You're right. I think the MAGA catchphrases are needed. We live in a petty society. Like, I think the CIA controls the meme, right? That's the only reason why somebody with 700 followers would tweet 100 black people, 100, they said N-words, but 100 people going to attack a gorilla, and all of a sudden it's memes all over. I think, the CIA is controlling it. But either way, somebody off the cuff like that. We don't live in a society like 80s and the 90s. Steam, that's what Democrats want. We're high. Fuck that. We want. That's what the American people want. That's what I want. That's what the people in Alabama want, because all the graduates are there. I'm quite sure probably 97% of them vote. So he has to go energize that base, because we have elections coming up next November, and we need to make sure that these graduates are not only engaged, but that they're going to show up and vote and go be hard workers. And there were parts, I'll be honest, of President's speech that were a little inspirational. I don't mean like Les Brown inspiration, Walter Bond, other speakers, but there were some things, some nuggets he dropped in there. But yeah, if you do work hard, if you do go get it, you can go attain and achieve everything you need in life, which is a beautiful thing to say to folks, but it's not one of the best speeches. Not even one of Trump's best speeches. But it's one of those things. I wonder how the Auburn faithful are going to feel about this. Somebody from Auburn is going to be like, listen, man, you come to our graduation, fuck it. Now, I'll be real with you. They don't have no black graduates at Alabama? They don't have one black graduate in the whole crowd, or even in the camera view? Or maybe they didn't want to show up with them. Maybe this is the Republicans' graduation. This could be the young Republicans of Alabama graduation. Everybody else is coming to the next. Now think about this. They sat here through this whole hour-long speech. Now they got to listen to everybody's name. Either way, I appreciate y'all tapping into the show. I appreciate y'all. Now I'm about to wrap this up and go get on my video game. But while you're here, because you stayed to the end, let me know your thoughts I'll read through some of this chat on TikTok. Oh, y'all still 100. I appreciate y'all, man, more than anything. On the hip hop lobby, I started my journey in politics. I was fired from my day job my last semester at the Florida A&M University. Worked at a DoubleTree hotel, got fired, took an unpaid internship in the process after that. 15 years later, I'm here. I've helped elect members to the United States Congress, put constitutional amendments on the ballot, help elect members to the state legislature, mayors, county commission, appropriations, everything. I'm not saying to brag. They're talking everything. First time seeing me. I don't want you to think that, oh, this is just some talking head politically who just come in here, criticize Trump or criticize Democrats or criticize Republicans. I'm actually an operative in this. And I'm a lobbyist, 15 years. There are 1,700, 1,800 lobbyists in the state. There are roughly 60 of us that are. I don't want to make this about. At one point, I was the youngest black lobbyist in history at the age of 24. And now I'm about to be 40 this year. So I've been doing this 15 years of experience, giving it and sharing opinion. And I know I'm losing a lot of people, but that's okay. My biggest thing, we can build a community of people who not only care about politics, but we can care to deliver some results to the people. But more than anything, I appreciate y'all. Let me end this last poll real quick. And the poll result, probably post them. You think Democrats and Republicans are on the same side against the rest of us? I do think that sometimes, because what happens is the members of Congress get elected. You rank up, like become a Hakeem Jeffries, Nancy Pelosi, a leader by the amount of money raised. And it's not just on the Democratic side, it's the Republican side. An associate friend of mine, Matt Gaetz, he will go raise money. Byron Donalds, they got to go raise money. Republican Party, Republicans, Democrats do the same. Not important unless you raise more money. So I feel that the average person loses out in the process because they're not giving money away. Big donors. If you call a big donor and they can give $5,000, which is really, let's say $2,700 for your primary, $2,700 for your general, they can cut $5, $10, $15, $20,000. Yes, the average person gets. Democrats and Republicans realize that Democrats. I go talk about Ron DeSantis. If I talk about DeSantis, if I talk about all about it, or the pot for them, it's going to get them going. But the Republicans, listen, they're trying to indoctrinate kids and killing your jobs. But go to a construction site with somebody doing a roof. Go tell me how many of those jobs that you want. When they talk about taking the jobs, go look at the jobs people are doing. I'm not saying immigrants should be able to come in here and take people's jobs for what it is. What I am saying, though, is that we're a country that is open arms to people. If they're here legally, get them out of here. That's not about the shit. That's my biggest thing. But then again, you can't have people coming over here who aren't supposed to be here killing people. It's a whole other issue. It's not just murderers like breaking in your house. People would drive without a license who happen to T-bone somebody and family dies. Somebody gets injured. Things like that happen. Not just MS-13. There are other random accidents that happen and immigrants get blamed for, but it is what it is. Let me get through some of these more comments so before I go on. God knows when God-fearing help us with USA right track and following the Bible. I don't know the track of the Bible. I'll tell you this. I went to the White House last because I realized, I told my friend that used to work for Kamala Harris, a couple of them. I said, listen, man, y'all not winning this next to have my son long because he may not be able to get back in this for another 12, 15 years and he'll be past age. Let me go now. And I'll tell you what, they talked about the Bible. Talk about Easter Bunny too. I don't see where the Bible is separated between presidents because Joe Biden put his hand on the Bible swearing. So I get it in some aspect, maybe trans ideology. I respect humans, but I don't think they lost the Bible. I just think people are not hearing you clearly, audio choppy. I'll fix that. I apologize. I will fix it. Grump has never asked God for forgiveness. That doesn't show he fears God. America first. 1% is only impact. They can be here, not over a wall, but through the front door properly. I agree with you. My grandmother came here from Jamaica, Kingston, Jamaica. She came here the right way, went to New York, worked as a seamstress for the Johnson family, Johnson & Johnson family, maid, seamstress, grandmother probably had a third grade education, respectfully. I love my grandmother, respectfully, in heaven. And she sponsored citizenship after being here for my grandfather to come here. I'm a first generation born American. Born in LA, they can't deport me. But it's a fact of people do it the right way, come in the front door proper. My mother's naturalized, right? It's to a point of saying some people don't realize they're doing it because they've heard if you get pregnant here, if you get pregnant, you come here, you have a baby, you're good, right? Your baby's a citizen. Now all of a sudden, we're saying, hey, that's not for y'all. That was actually for the slaves because we didn't respect the slaves. So now we get a point of, hey, we're not going to not respect the slaves. So I've been using this and abusing it. And that's, I think, a bigger problem. So they've done it through the front door way that I thought was right. Pregnant, if I had a baby, my baby is American. Y'all not going to deport me, my baby type shit. And that's where we are. Derek, I hear you. But Derek, I'll say this. On another stream, I said it. I went to a resort last summer in Orlando, Florida. It was on the Hispanic side of Orlando. If you're from Orlando, and it is broken down in cultures, essentially, in some aspect, kind of like Miami. I was at a resort. I wanted to go watch a soccer game. I talked to the gentleman in English, a little bit of, broken Spanish, and he said, I don't speak any. I'm at a resort in Florida where nobody spoke English. So what do you do then? When the people that they're hiring don't speak English because maybe it's international travelers, lingual, all this other stuff. I get it, but it's something else. Bro, what is your channel about? Honestly, Mr. Gonzalez, I'll be real with you. I'm still trying to figure that out. So in October, I do politics, right? In October, there was this narrative around black men voting for Donald Trump, voting against Kamala Harris, and I got frustrated because I said earlier I run campaigns, done campaigns, and narrative that I decided to post something about what I found in North Carolina and Georgia, 200,000 black men that voted for the first, and how the numbers, Kamala Harris, not Donald Trump. So I put it out there. I'm just randomly went to my voter data. Before you know it, I picked up like 100 subs off that. I realized that there was a nation hungry for authentic political, not Roland Martin, not Angela Rye, not the talk. Do this. So since I do it professionally, I said, hey, let me try to help develop my channel and build it out. So that's kind of what I'm doing. Kind of building out my channel, building out a community. Not only hear my thoughts politically, but also share my insight. That's what it is. I'm still kind of developing that. I don't want to butcher the first name, but the last name Gonzalez. I appreciate the question though. If all would put this much attention on your own laws, you wouldn't care about this. I don't know what you mean, but I appreciate it. Those Mexicans working hard, very hard, Who else you see? I mean, they're hard workers. I would say this: the Hispanic people I've known that have worked. I say that I used to be a cashier bag boy at Winn-Dixie in Palm Beach. There were orange rows across the street. After a hard day of picking oranges, the gentlemen and young ladies used to come. Money used to be wet because they would get paid cash to put in their pockets. They would go. But some of the hardest working people you would ever see. I don't care how much Rona they bought, how much whatever they came in loud, whatever it may be. They were some of the hardest workers, and culturally, I think the mindset of, actually I had a friend, no bullshit, he grew up in Jacksonville, played basketball, grew up in Section 8, the hood, whatever you want to say, right? Played ball, went overseas to the Dominican Republic. Even not overseas, right? He went overseas and he also played ball in let me correct that. But he said, what, Phil, the issue is we look at the struggle in America and we're fortunate because even in the ghettos in America, it's not as bad as the ghettos in other countries, right? So the people coming over here are working hard because they know the society, people, whether it's a communist country or whatever, they kind of see it, right? So they're coming over here not to commit crimes. They come over here to better themselves. And I'll tell you like this, I have cousins in Jamaica that have came over here, citizens. Their biggest thing is, okay, how can I save all my money in a crate full of toys back to my people? And I feel that other cultures do the same. Not everyone's trying to rob, steal, kill, and destroy. Some people actually want to better their lives and take care of people back. The exchange rate of the US dollar back in these other countries are amazing, but it's better to buy it here in America and ship it down because it's cheaper that way for the tariffs. Can you listen to Infected on my created playlist, Lance? I guess I can. Hey, boo, you crushed my fart box last night. What? Yeah, Harris, I got my first one. The first person, I'm going to have to just report this message. Unwanted commercial I'll just actually I'll say this. I'm not going to hide, bro. I just don't. One room chat. I appreciate the subscription. I subscribing to the channel. I appreciate anybody here, whether you're on TikTok, Twitch, YouTube, whatever. I appreciate the subs. Again, I'm trying to build this channel out. I actually started, right? We got 600 now. When I started that Kamala Harris, the voting thing, I only had 49 subs. 49 random people. I posted some videos before, 50 people randomly in the world. When I got 100 subs off one video, I'm like, I got 100 the other day. Listen, I'm not begging for subscriptions. I'm not begging for followers. I just want to educate people, get the misinformation out the way. Because I do feel both sides of the aisle, say their talking points to their people, gets the people going. But I'll tell you this, I know some Republicans that are mad at Elon Musk. I know some Democrats that hate Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. But what you supposed to do, right? You got to do what you got to do. Let me get back to this chat, man. Hard work is learned through necessity. It's not racial. Very true, Derek. Very, very hard work is learned. Some people are naturally lazy. We live in a generation now that's not, I'll be honest, I was born in the 80s. We don't work as hard as the previous generation. We don't work as hard. It's almost like it's easy. We have people getting up, whether you're fishing at 4 or 5 in the morning, you're going to milk the cow or get it. People, it's a whole nother lifestyle. I think that we're a softer generation now than before. It's one of those things, but what are you going to do? But I agree, hard work is learned. You have to instill it early. I have a 3-year-old son. You may have saw him on the stream if you follow or in my channels or whatever. It's got to instill it early. You got to let them know, like, listen, you're a child, enjoy this, but nothing comes easy to get in this world for real. After 10, all this shit's work. You got to work hard for it. And I think that instilling that early in your children, even what Trump was saying, it's good that you got a degree, but you still got to work hard. You got to love what you do. I actually agree with what he said there. You have to love what you do. I fell in love with politics. I'll tell you this. I never wanted to be SGA president. Never wanted to work in politics. I literally fell into this. I've been in customer service for 13. I've been a bag boy. I work overnight. Like people boycotting Target right now. I used to work at Target overnight in college. I work at a daycare. I used to work 10 to 7, 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. Then at 7:30, 8 a.m., go to the daycare, work at the daycare till like 11, go to my classes till about 3, and hopefully catch a nap between 3 and 10. I can do every college, right? I've been a hard worker my whole life. My reasoning for falling into politics, God's work, God's path for my life. When Kanye dropped 808s and Heartbreak, around that time, I was going through, damn, where am I going to go in life? I had a friend today earlier. She got let go, fired from her job. Same thing. People go through something, a life-changing situation. What are you going to do? I didn't know what I was going to do. I fell into politics, took an unpaid internship, grinding ever since. But hard work is learned. I knew in that situation I had to go get it. And I'm still going to get it. But let's get back to these comments. I appreciate you, Derek. I appreciate everybody who's on the channel right now, everybody who stayed late after the speech at Alabama, and everyone who early through the technical difficulties and came back through it. I'm going to fix this mic if it's still choppy. I promise you I will. Thing is, y'all don't realize what the problem is. Inequality between the poor and the rich in the country. Growing, the rich getting richer. Yes, you're right. Elsha, Stephen, you're right. The gap between the rich and the poor is there. And I don't think, honestly, I don't think it's getting any better. When I read yesterday about the UPS jobs getting 20,000 jobs being cut, about 70 facilities closing by the means that in 60 days, facilities are closed. Cool. You have a business decision to make to save $3.5 billion. But what you're doing is you're automating these jobs. UPS isn't telling you, maybe you research it, whatever. They're firing people that make the labels, package the boxes, and load the trucks. As someone who worked overnight at Target, when we started at 10, we didn't finish the truck till about midnight. Like unload the truck, take the water off, have a whole line, sporting goods, health, everything. Right. These are the jobs they're cutting through automation. Another thing I'll tell you, I said it last night's stream, that I also work in tech sales because I understand government 15 years. I know how people sell to government, whether you want a contract for lawn maintenance, whatever. But there's a point where people are selling technology to the government because it's efficient. Biggest thing these tech companies are saying, their biggest hindrance is process, right? So I mean, Sally, I used Sally last night. Sally has been a person at the job who travel and expense. Travel to a paperwork, she gets to the job, she makes sure that you turn your receipts in, get reimbursed. A former client of mine, SAP Concur, they have a traveling management. They'll come in and they say, you know what, we'll save companies $70,000 a year, improve efficiency, that you manually inputting things. Everything's off. After 6 months, 8 months, a year, get the contract and you come in and everything's off. The boss sits down, like, okay, we're going through a report. Remember, Elon asked everybody for weekly report working on? Sally, what you doing? Well, I'm just that. So you're monitoring it. If you don't have the extra work, you're not work till 8, 9 o'clock into validating and automated. So you could be one of the that go. You've worked hard, got your degree, done everything replaced by a computer, by AI. And it's not just Sally, it's every industry. Talking about doctors replacing the efficiency. ChatGPT had a homie this morning, has a medical marijuana dispensary in the Boston area. And he's like, listen, man, I just got my GPT right instead of hiring a secretary. Why should I hire to do exactly? So hard work is out there. The gap is between the poor and the rich. We're going to get, if they're savvy or technology, they're going to get poor and the rich are going to get, because guess what? The rich are going to become what they're doing. I get it. Robot technology. We've seen this play out in the movies, but we don't know what's really going to happen. I think that when we had the ILA workers strike last year for 2 days when they were going to quote unquote cripple the economy, that is the beginning of this thing with automation, especially for manufacturing. And so I do think people will work hard. But I also think that with technology, we're in a situation like every 100 years, we're at a delta. We're at a delta of technology, like what was it in the early 1900s? So Reconstruction, right? Rebuilding, we're getting off cotton, in the steel, rail, all the other stuff, right? Building all the shit out. That's where we are technology-wise. So it's going to take some jobs out. But let me get back to the comments. I think I'm rambling a bit, which, get back to the chat at least. Which comment I didn't reply to yet. Back. Who can't really hear, bro. My bad, Sean. My son sleep upstairs, and I got to change my mic settings. So I'll fix that. My apologies. Give the government the power to choose winners and losers. Sometimes your preferred team will lose. Very true. So because I will have to come back to find what you're all about. All I can make out is honesty. I appreciate that. That's good. I appreciate that, Bovia. Like my Derek, I appreciate you. Trumpers still hang on him. So, can't do what you love. You love being the best at what. Hey Keith, they actually used to call me Tiger Woods in high school. Tiger Wood, y'all. That's what they used to call me back in the day. Marcellus, my nephew, man, peace, brother. How you doing, man? I gotta hit you up, my boy. Appreciate you tapping in. We gotta catch up. Them love 2 years ago they did. MAGA hated Tesla 2 years ago, so. Do you know any factories that lost businesses due to day one Trump's agenda, day one layoffs? No, I don't. Johnny, I'll have to look that up and find out. I don't know any factories, anything, but I know it's out there. It's got to be out there because not everybody's been able to survive these tariffs, even though they just started being kicked in, or even the economy from last year. So let's be real. As a lower middle class person, I do realize At least exactly in Trumpers thing. All right, we covered a lot today, man. And now AI is good. Oh yes, I see. Here's the thing, Johnny. Let me talk about EVs first before AI is good. Here's the thing with the EVs: the batteries are too heavy. Right? Here's what they don't tell you. So with the Tesla, when the battery goes out, I think you got to send the car in. When the battery dies, what really happens is those batteries are too heavy for the road. Because Teslas don't take gas, they don't pay the gas tax. So in some states, they've actually changed the electric vehicle legislation, hurt some of the money into that. Now I'm saying the batteries are heavy, the EV stuff, because they're destroying the roads. What happens is EV batteries, the cars are so heavier than typical cars that it's destroying the asphalt of the road. Because you're not paying gas tax, technically, there's a shortfall of money to replace those roads. On top of it, check this out. When you're laying down new roads and asphalt, that's harmful for the road. That's harmful for the environment, right? So really, the electric vehicle piece is harmful. And the other thing, even for manufacturing companies, I have a homie that has a facility in Georgia and Tennessee and Alabama, actually. When they were pushing this carbon stuff, right, like electric forklifts, the issue is it takes a lot of power to generate those forklifts, charge up those forklift batteries. And those forklift batteries or those EVs or whatever, they'll never be as efficient gas because you got to plug this bitch in all the time. Technically running up your light bill because it's on the grid. So even though EVs were pushed by the Democrats, hey, we got to make these changes, there were some issues, especially when it came to semis. When I haul stuff from like potatoes or whatever to California, they've been suing states because of this, because it's like you're mandating this to happen, but you're not taking into account that a semi truck or a forklift may be lifting 20, 30 tons, right? Maybe 20,000 tons. How much of electric vehicle battery do you think is going to be able to move that? You feel me? And then you got to charge that bitch up. So a part of it is we're still in the early phases of the EV stuff, but it's not as yeah, EV was, but at the end of the day, we're not at a point where I think at least Tesla and some of the EVs, the hybrids are different. I don't think we're at a point where we can how can I say, go 100% EV, because we're just not there. Because the way our infrastructure, our roads are set up, I just don't believe it is a thing that's going to happen. But let me also check the TikTok chat, because I haven't checked the TikTok chat. I've been going on YouTube and respect the chat. I might make the most cringe face. We still got people there. We got some gifters on TikTok. I appreciate y'all tapping in. Either way, I'm about to wrap this one up. More than anything, if you haven't followed on TikTok, Twitch, whatever, please go ahead and follow if you subscribed. I appreciate you. It is your boy, the Hip Hop Lobbyist. I'm building out my website and also updating my Substack. So as you subscribe, you'll be seeing other things like my website links, case studies. I actually want to go through when we get back to a legislative session thing, right? Teaching people actually how to pass laws, write laws, get money in your state budget if you have a nonprofit or you have government resources, fix things in your. Either way, I appreciate y'all. And we started at 49 subscribers. I believe we're above 600. Last I checked, we're at 5 early this week. We're at 7 after this stream. I may cry myself to sleep. But either way, I appreciate y'all. And I'm also a gamer. Hip Hop Lobbyist Gaming. You may see that channel as well. FIFA, Call of Duty, college football. Don't play Madden. And MLB The Show. So if you're on those games, you want to play with your boy, pause. Please tap in. But either way, y'all have a good night. This will be the end of my political stream tonight, unless Trump does something, unless news happens. But either way, I appreciate y'all, man. Much love. Y'all have a great night.